Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap. I hope all of you guys had a wonderful day. My day was all right. Didn't do much, just relaxed. Tried to enjoy the day. Um, we got a lot of news to cover, but I hope all of you guys had a great day. You know, there's a lot that happened today. So let's get started. We have three segments today. We have a segment on the Trump administration, as always. We have a Kilmar Abrego Garcia section, and we have the other news section. To open up with the Trump administration segment today, as normal, let's get started. These are the topics that we have for today. The United States may abandon peace talks in Ukraine. The White House posts on social media saying Kilmar Abrego Garcia is never coming back, and the White House calls to end the Head Start program. The United States may abandon peace talks in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Friday that the U.S. may move on from trying to secure peace between Russia and Ukraine if there's no progress on a deal in the coming days. He spoke and announced this in Paris after landmark talks among U.S., Ukrainian, and European officials to produce outlines for steps towards peace. Rubio told reporters, "We are now reaching a point where we need to decide whether this is even possible or not. Because if it's not, then I think we're just going to have to move on. It's not our war. We have other priorities to focus on." He said the Trump administration wants to decide in a matter of days. If they back down, that means Trump will have failed to end the war in Ukraine. The same war he said he could end without fail on day one. Granted, that's not something to really celebrate, but it is them giving up and admitting defeat, which is something we have not seen from the Trump administration at all, really. Hopefully, that's something we can see in their battles against Congress as well, but as we know, the Trump administration seems to be really fucking stubborn this time around. Moving on. The White House posted on social media saying Kilmar Abrego Garcia is never coming back. The White House called out and fixed the New York Times segment of the Maryland senator meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. On Twitter, the White House tagged the New York Times saying, "Fixed it for you, and oh, by the way, he's not coming back." In a post, they crossed out words with red lines and wrote, "Who's never coming back," and MS-13 illegal alien. I believe I can show you guys the post. I would edit it in, but I'm recording this off Substack, and the editing feature is not great on here. I've already tried. I don't even know that it works. So this is the image that they posted on their social media. This is the Instagram post that they made. In no world should the White House be making posts like this, but alas, that's how the Trump administration rolls. Unprofessional. It's unfortunate how low we've gone. This administration is cursed on so many levels, and I really wish that we could see change and we could see betterness. But unfortunately, that's not what we're going to get. We are not going to get, just a clean 4 years where everything will be okay. Unfortunately, like we all hoped for when the election ended. Man. Moving on. The White House calls to end the Head Start program. The Trump administration is asking Congress to eliminate funding for Head Start, a move that would cut early education for more than 500,000 of the nation's children. The proposal is hidden in a draft budget that seeks to cut a Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees Head Start. The cuts have not yet been accepted by lawmakers, the document says. The federal government should not be in business of mandating curriculum, locations, and performance standards of any form in education. This is going to impact children's education in so many ways. The Head Start program provides so many things for students who struggle. Even I myself benefited from this program when I was a kid. So many children rely on this program for assistance, and so many parents rely on it as well to provide things for students that they might not be able to get. In some instances, schools with the Head Start program provide after school care for their students for free. Um, Many programs, provide food for students. When I was in first grade, I benefited from this program. I would speak with a counselor and work on speaking. Because I used to be terrible at speaking. Shocker now that I hop on here and come and talk like every day. My public speaking skill is very great now. In my opinion at least. Um, which is a way I have benefit from this. I think if I didn't or wasn't involved in the Head Start program as a child, I probably wouldn't be able to speak as well as I do now. And granted, I'm not the greatest speaker. I do mess up on quite a few occasions, but I always do try. And I think I'm pretty darn good at public speaking and speaking in front of a crowd and getting my points across. But I do worry the about the negative impacts this will have on many school children, because there are a lot of kids out there who are just like me. They struggle to speak and even struggle to spell. Which is a huge problem. And children should be able to receive assistance in as many ways possible, especially learning. These are the future of our nation, and we should be not only treating them well, but we should be, providing them good opportunities for education. Moving on to the Kilmar Abrego Garcia segment, we have Kilmar Abrego Garcia is alive, and it is a recap on the meeting between Senator Chris Van Hollen and Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And El Salvador has tried to stage images of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is alive. Senator Chris Van Hollen revealed some new details about his meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He met with Garcia on Thursday after a previously failed attempt. In a news conference at Washington Dulles International Airport, he told reporters he met with Abrego Garcia for more than 30 minutes and informed him of his national attention, which Abrego Garcia was unaware from. His conversation with me was the first communication he had with anybody outside the prison since he was abducted, Van Hollen said. He said he felt very sad about being at prison because he had not committed any crimes. Van Hollen said Abrego told him that he was okay and had been able to see a doctor for a blood pressure condition. The senator said Abrego Garcia told him he was no longer being housed at CCOT and had been transferred more than a week ago to another detention center in Santa Ana, El Salvador, where conditions are better, Van Hollen said. But he said despite the better conditions, he still has no access to any news from the outside world and no ability to communicate with anyone from the outside world. According to the senator, Abrego Garcia spoke several times about his 5-year-old son that was in the car with him when he was detained. Van Hollen was joined by Abrego Garcia's family at the news conference. It's good to see that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is alive and well, but still remember that there are many people in these prisons in El Salvador with a similar situation where they might not have committed a crime or they might not actually be related to a gang. And, there are so many people likely with that situation. So, yes, we can celebrate that, the largest I guess, person in the situation is, alive and well. But that doesn't mean that other people aren't suffering. There are still other people going through what Kilmar likely could have gone through if he didn't receive so much national attention. Um, we must end all the deportations and bring these people home as soon as possible because the United States is not only built on, but it is supported by immigrants. We are currently biting the hand that feeds us, as many would say. Um, We should be treating these people and need to be treating these people way better than they are treated already. It should be easier for them to get citizenship. It should be easier for them to get paid higher wages. It should be easier for them to get opportunities in the United States rather than kicking them out of our country. And I do agree that we have an immigration problem and we have an issue with drugs being smuggled across the border. But the fact of the matter is, a majority of these immigrants coming into the United States aren't actually criminals and spend their time and their lives working their ass off so they can support their family. I mean, I talk a lot about my experience with immigrants. I'm a farmer born and raised, and I've worked in the fields with immigrants for a majority of my life now, um, especially during harvest, and I've learned a lot about these people's lives. Many of these people s- go outside of Home Depot, wait to find some work, and that's all they got for a few days, and they gotta hope that they're able to bring enough money in to support not only themselves but their families. A lot of these workers are honestly not very well off. It's very sad, truly, and they arguably struggle less than even the low class in the United States, depending on how you would consider a lower class. But I mean, we at the end of the day, we really do need to treat these people better. How terrible they are treated is absolutely inhumane, and in no way should that be excusable. Anyone who comes to the United States seeking opportunity should be able to get paid the correct wages. They should be able to support themselves and pay for a home. And we just don't see that. And it's so sad. And it truly is extremely unfortunate. Moving on. El Salvador has tried to state El Salvador has tried to stage images of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Images of Senator Chris Van Hollen and Kumar Abrego Garcia's meeting were the first shared by Salvadorian President Niabu Buleki, who would try to downplay concerns about Abrego Garcia's confinement on social media. In a post asserting he was sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Van Hollen denied any alcoholic beverages were being consumed during the meeting, and he suggested Buleki's post was an attempt to set up the senator and Abrego Garcia. The senator said two aides brought in the glasses and insisted on having the encounter filmed. Van Hollen said he believed Bukele's decision to allow him to meet with Abrego Garcia came from public pressure. They were feeling the pressure because while I was in El Salvador, we had major press conferences, and that included local press who reported on this, Van Hollen said. This is absolutely sick. Using this situation as a PR stunt when it's not only clear that you're in the wrong, but when your own people are upset is so fucked, to be blatantly simple. They don't care about him or anyone else in these prisons. All that matters to them is what's convenient for them and how they can save their ass when it goes wrong. Um, I mean, I feel like there's no other way to say that truly. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the people who put them into office. They don't care about their country. At the end of the day, they care most about what benefits themselves and what keeps them into power. And that is a problem in not only politics, but ruling around the world. Government should be more inclined to work for their people and less inclined to have control over them. I mean, I feel like that's common sense and, you know, isn't would make sense when you're not trying to have a dictatorship, but I guess it's not to some people. Moving on to the other news segment, we have two topics to cover today. American citizens accidentally received deportation notices, and attorneys say Venezuelans are going to be deported. Excuse me. Excuse me. American citizens accidentally received deportation notices. A number of U.S. citizens have received emails for the Department of Homeland Security ordering them to leave the United States. The DOH said these emails include some cases that were sent in air. It's unclear the exact number of federal notices that have been sent, but Americans from coast to coast have received them demanding that they self-deport within 7 days, whether they're a citizen or not. The email doesn't say whether they're a citizen or not. I mean that by they've been sent that whether they're a citizen or not. Um, I probably should have been more clear on that wording. Um, the homegrowns are next, as the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself said. If you received an email like this and you would be interested in sharing it, please reach out to me at fadejamesnews on gmail.com. But you know, uh, if you're not comfortable with that, don't do that. Only do it if you feel like it. I don't know why I made that so awkward. That's easy to say. Or if you want to reach out for any other reason, my email is always open. I enjoy getting emails from people all the time. If you email me, I am more likely to respond than if you DM me. Just saying. Um, Anyways, but in all seriousness, where do they expect citizens to go if they're sending them these emails? Do you want me to go back to Ireland? I've never been there, but I'm sure it's lovely. I've seen pictures of it that make it seem truly beautiful, and I would love to go. If so, I mean, if I get a free ride to be deported to another country, shoot, send me over. I'm joking, of course, but truly, where do they expect people to go who have been in the United States their entire lives? If they're an American citizen, where do you expect them to go? They lived here, they are a citizen in this country. I feel like there's common sense in that one. Is there not? There's no common sense in this administration, I can tell you that much. Attorneys say Venezuelans are going to be deported. The ACLU says the Trump administration is actively busing dozens of men to an airport in Texas to be deported after the Department of Justice lawyer said the Trump administration currently doesn't have any deportation plans. Assistant Attorney General Drew Ensign pushed back, saying, I've also been told that there are no flights tonight and that people I spoke to were not aware of any plans for any flights tomorrow. Government officials had also told ABC News that there was planning underway for an imminent deportation flight under the AEA. The ACLU has requested Judge Boasberg to block any additional deportations and also ask the Supreme Court to block any deportations. The Trump administration clearly isn't going to follow any ruling trying to stop them. They'll just be sneaky and sly to do what they want until they get caught. And this is proof of it. Deny, deny, deny until you get caught. That's kind of the mantra of the Trump administration so far. I believe that's the correct use of that word. I might be wrong. How many people need to be taken before they are stopped completely, though? How many people is it going to be? Who is it going to be? There's got to be somewhere where we say, hey, I'm actually not going to let this happen anymore, Is it going to be a famous person? Are you going to just wait until someone rich? Or are you going to stick up for all these people who actually put you into office, Because, they're saying the homegrowns are next. That means literally everyone. That doesn't mean just, people who are breaking the laws. The homegrown means literally everyone in this entire country. Anyone the Trump administration deems a terrifying criminal can be sent away if this is allowed. So where does it stop? Where do we draw the line? That's what I want to know, and that's what so many other people want to know. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. I don't have too much to say. It's Friday. Weekend's coming up. It's Easter weekend. My birthday's also this weekend, so I'm hyped for that. Quite excited. yeah, I hope all of you guys had a wonderful day. I will catch you all tomorrow in another episode. If you're on YouTube, feel free to drop a subscription. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. We're getting there, and we're going to get there fast. If you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. If not, subscribing is always free. But if you do pledge your support, all funds will go to me and paying for the things that I need to pay for to support myself when I'm in college. But with that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching. I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.